Oh, that's important. That's typically important. Usually, I recorded a whole segment with Blake once with the TV on. It didn't show up on the audio somehow.
I think the condenser mics do a good enough job of not picking up everything. That's kind of what they're built for, which is good. But having the Family Guy Star Wars episode being the background ambiance is not necessarily what we're looking for, I would say.
What did you? So wait, what is this you put into the doc? Scary teens in Hoboken.
Yeah, you sent me a message of a Reddit post about some teens in Hoboken heckling passerbys, and I thought
I
that
thought
we
that
could
was.
discuss this. Go ahead, you can
Well, the hilarity of what. So I went on the subreddit, the Hoboken subreddit, and I was kind of curious. I was trying to figure out there's a restaurant near us that I thought was opening,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not. It's been closed since COVID. That
The one right on the corner.
the smokehouse, the barbecue place.
Oh
Apparently,
yeah,
it was
yeah.
a cool bar and barbecue place, and it hasn't been open for years. I was trying to figure out what the deal with it was. Um, and it, as it turns out, it gotten closed. And then I was going through the rest of the subreddit, and I was curious, what else is in here? Are there any recommendations for good bars? Are there any recommendations for good restaurants? Most of it's a little problematic with complaints about certain demographics of people. I'm not going to get into that. I was very appalled. I was like, what? This is not a Hoboken subreddit. You guys are taking a bit of a stand here on some things that are not really related to the local community. And then there was one post that I sent you that I thought was funny. There was a guy that was saying that he was attacked by a group of teens that were making fun of him for his like boat shoes, and they called him Mr. Tumnus.
Yeah,
The guy
I
from
have it.
Narnia.
I put the wrong link in here.
I was wondering what the
My
hell
bad.
this was.
Yeah, yeah. Here's a very long link that I didn't hyperlink. Yeah, got mocked by a group of teens. Eighth and Madison was walking home from work, and I was passing by this group of teens. Terrifying, by the way. They started saying things about my clothes, my shoes in particular. I guess they found my tabby boots comical enough to mock me. As I was crossing the
Tabby boots. What are tabby boots?
As I was crossing the street to avoid them, I heard one of them say, "This looks like the goat MFer from Narnia with
All
those
right, you
shoes."
should get made fun of for wearing these as a man.
Yeah, here's the thing. If you're going for a...
Do you think he was wearing these?
It's very possible. Look, if you're going with
I showed Sean a pair of knee-high tabby boots for women. That would have been
eccentric shoe choices
okay.
are hard to pull off for a lot of men. And especially around a group of teenagers, as I have been bullied by teenagers past college. Have I told you this story?
No, you didn't tell me the story. Also, why didn't you use the screenshot that I sent you on the post?
It wasn't copying properly.
Okay.
Don't worry, that'll
Okay.
go up for Friday.
Okay.
When I was my first day when I was onboarding at SiriusXM in DC, right?
Okay.
They give me my
You
folders.
definitely didn't tell me this.
I pull up in my khakis, my actual, leather shoes, a button down, trying to
No
look
tabby
like
boots, no knee-high tabby boots.
no tabby boots. I just look like a kind of a normal white guy walking
The
around.
fishnet stockings.
No.
that you were wearing.
I was just kind of just regularly dressed.
Okay.
And
Surprising to hear.
they give you name tags. I put mine on my backpack. It's all good. Long day, stressful day.
Yeah.
First time starting at a job. And then I think I took the metro to work that day. And as I was walking out of the building, there's a high school nearby the building in DC. And I was at a stoplight, and I heard the rumblings of high schoolers walking behind me. I wasn't that worried, I got a job now. I'm out of college. I'm doing well. I'm not scared of high schoolers. And then I heard a bunch of snickering, and I heard laughing and giggling, and I felt something touch my backpack, but I wasn't sure what.
Oh no.
And then I heard a distinct crumple noise and more laughter. And I didn't turn around because I couldn't face them. But what landed at my feet was my crumpled up name tag that they took off of my backpack, my Rhode Island football backpack, and they tossed it down at my feet. And I had to pretend like I didn't see it or hear it or know that it happened. And they were all girls. So I got I got punked real bad, just trying to get home. Big dumpy white guy just got his ass bullied.
There's nothing that you can do in that situation.
No, what am I gonna say? Why'd you do that? What? That was my name tag?
I might have been pissed off enough that was it during school hours, after school
Right
hours?
after school let out. I think it was like 4 o'clock.
See, I'm, and this is such an old man. I probably would have walked right into that school, and I would have walked right into the principal's office, and I probably would. I had the closest thing I had at one time. I was running. I think this was in California. Yeah, I believe it was in California. And I was running, and there was a group of teens that nowhere near a high school, but it was a large group of teens. And one of them yelled the stupid, like, "Run, Forrest, run." Definitely hasn't seen the movie, so fuck that kid. But he yells at it, this, and they all start laughing. And I turn around and go, "Hey, fuck you!" And I kept running. And they didn't
What?
They all just stood there for like 5 seconds, and then they started shouting things back at me. But yeah,
Sure.
I took it to them.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna get bullied like you did.
I was not going to get in a shouting match on that corner in DC, knowing I probably would have gotten beat up. I think all five
It
or
was a
six.
bunch of girls. It was a bunch of teenage girls.
I think they were wearing Nike boots. I think I would have gotten stomped out into the ground. It would have been a bad scene. All right, so there was no good situation for me to get out of it. I applaud you for standing up to the LA teens. But I
not standing up. Well, and this was in an area where it was probably the whitest high school in
oh cool gotcha.
in Los Angeles, for anybody who's wondering who was heckling me. Bunch of spoiled ass kids. All right, we got a lot that we got to get to today. We're going to talk about the Matt Sluka situation and our best bets. That coming up and more. We're going to hit the break, and we will be right back.
And now back to your regular programming.
If you speak better to yourself.
You showed up for like probably the dumbest conversation we've ever had on this show.
Let's have that smile again.
Tell me how that happens. Physically should not happen.
Relax.
If you say it
Give me as well.
3 times a day, God will line it up.
He's just an absolute hack, and he gets his ass kicked by his teammates every week. And, it's just terrible.
Welcome back to Hack City. Joe DeLeone and Sean Anderson, 2 former college football players from the University of Rhode Island. Today, we are going to talk about the Matt Sluka UNLV NIL situation. We're also going to get to just some short thoughts on the Georgia-Bama game, as well as, you know it, it's Wednesday. We have our best bets and wrapping the show out with Hell Yeah of the Week and Get After the Week. Before we get to that, though, Sean, can you share with our listeners a word from BetOnline?
Sure, I can. While you're clearing your throat, I'll tell them about our great betting sponsor. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform, your number one source for everything football. I mean, God, how could you possibly have to cough and clear your throat 80 times a day? You're probably at close to 80 as my count has gone on through today. BetOnline has every stat, every matchup, even live odds and spreads to bet on during the games. He's trying to get healthier. I know that he's getting his cardio in. He's working at it. Nobody should be this phlegmy.
Do the read.
Think you know your
Do
stuff.
the read.
Get in on their 200 grand
Jesus.
mega contest and pick 5 games against the spread every week for your chance at weekly prizes at a share of $200K. When the game's over, head on over to their online casino, get in on a game of blackjack or poker, or unwind with one of their 150 slots games. Head to the website today to get in on the action. Bet online. The game starts here.
Today it broke, Sean, that Matt Sluka, UNLV starting quarterback, a team that beat Houston, that beat Kansas, that was on a trajectory to be the G5 representative, they're not going to be able to finish the year with their starting quarterback unless the current situation that they're battling through gets resolved. Sluka last night, very late last night, almost went under the radar to the point where rolled out of bed. It's the first thing that everybody and their mother was talking about the entirety of the day, announced that he is going to be redshirting the rest of the season and stepping away from UNLV because of a prior commitment that was made by the UNLV program to pay him that they did not meet. Now, there was a lot of shit slinging throughout the day as people with connections to UNLV were mouthpieces for the program, saying that one report that the Sluka family hired a big-time agent and came storming into the office demanding more money than he was originally supposed to be getting. Then it was put out there that another team jumped in and tried to tamper with him and get him to enter the portal and sit out the rest of the year. No evidence of that right there. But what was proven was that Sluka claims his father came out and his NIL representative came out and said that he was promised by a member of the coaching staff that he would receive $100,000. And a lot of those promises were altered. They were pushed off and they eventually were not met. It's also worth noting another UNLV football player, a running back, announced he is going to do the same exact thing, but he has stated it is not NIL related. That is, I guess, not part of the equation here.
Sure.
This whole situation is very messy. It opens the can of worms discussion of, is NIL like really truly negatively impacting the sport? I still don't think it is. I think that this is such a one-off specific situation. I came out and I said this, and I had a lot of people defending UNLV, which is just so weird to me. Sluka's doing the right thing here. Even if there was a miscommunication, which seems to be the case between him and UNLV, the right thing for him to have done in this situation is to step away. If you're owed money and you don't have a shot at the NFL, which sadly, Matt Sluka, you do not have much of a shot at the NFL. It is a very large uphill battle for him to reach it. For him to not get money that he was promised of that amount, I do not blame him for stepping away.
Yeah, this is a true can of worms. I thought after all the Jaden Rashada stuff that people would be much more careful when dealing with big money amounts and collectives and transfers and all the likes. But it seems like coaches are going to do what they can do to get players on the team. And if that means saying, I'll give you $100,000, which is a lot of money, especially if you're not going to the NFL. It's a lot of money if you're in the NFL. It's a lot of money for anybody that's just sitting here covering the conversation, doing some light pocket watching, which is what I think we're doing, compared to the heavy pocket watching that has just become a now super toxic situation around Sluka and the discourse of that. But Sluka deciding, I'm not going to take this anymore. The check hasn't come. You're obviously being fraudulent about the promise that you made, and because there's not a contract, I'm just going to take my ball and go somewhere else. I think it's the right call. NIL, it's still too early to say it's good or bad. It just happened. 10 years down the line, I'm sure we'll have new regulations, we'll have new details, new wrinkles to be able to build off of it and say, you can do this with NIL, you can't do this. What does it do? Are we going to have a booster limit? Are we going to have a cap on how much a player can be made or promised? It's still too early in its infancy for people to start acting like they know what the hell they're talking about in all the depth of NIL.
Well, this was the whole thing that pissed me off the most with this is like a lot of folks were talking crazy saying he's quitting on his team. Miss me with that shit. Like that
oh yeah,
is,
Barstool UNLV today with the whole he quit on it. Yeah,
it's such a dumb old man take to have. Like he's quitting on his team. It doesn't matter what he was promised. The guy's putting his body on the line. He is a running quarterback that they were rushing a ton. Like that was the big reason why they recruited Sluka, was because he is a great athlete. He was meant to run this go-go offense that they have. He's putting his body on the line. The least you can do is pay the kid what you promised him. Ryan makes a great point here. $100K is a very low amount promised for a starting quarterback at the college level, at the FBS level specifically. I can't believe so many people were doing the whole bit of rallying to support a university that makes tons of money, especially in a circumstance where if you found a way to pay the kid, the return for Barry Odom, for Marion, the offensive coordinator, and for the school in general, if they made it to the playoff, would have been significant. It would have been way more than $100,000 or $88,000 that they said that they were going to give him.
Oh yeah.
It's just so dumb to me that some fans still hold this old school mentality when we talk about players getting played, to the point where it's back when in the 1930s, professional football was deemed to be some ungodly facet of American culture that if it occurred, it was going to be so wrong for the sport of football. Back then, before professional football, football was thought of as a character building exercise for young men. And if they played professionally, it was unnatural. That is the whole root derived why so many people are against NIL. And it kind of comes from all these idiots who were attacking Sluka's character before any information was out there and assuming that he was trying to pull one over and get a bigger bag than he was originally promised and trying to change the deal. I'm so over the way that people have reacted to this and are going to continue to react to kids making decisions.
Well, I think the majority of people see the story and they say, okay, the kid should have gotten paid, or the kid quit on his team. But a majority of people haven't been on teams where players have quit, mid-season. They haven't seen it happen. They don't know exactly what. We had a player quit once a week. He would come back. He would, a good player.
I miss those days where you could just walk out of practice and then and take a train somewhere and then show back up.
I'm effing done with this. We had a guy quit mid-camp on a night train back to Jersey, and then come back 2 years later and started. All right, this football stuff, and we were all kind of confused. But then what are you going to do? Next man up. That's what happens at most programs. Does it suck sometimes? Yeah. Is it the quarterback the most important position on the field? Yes. But people quit, man. They quit all the time. And it doesn't get reported on at a lot of levels because it's not FBS. But seeing so many people legitimately quit because they didn't want to push the plates down and back in the weight room, that was crazy. And then we didn't see from that gentleman again for the rest of our lives.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, he was late. He had to do a little punishment, and he did not come back and play. And we moved on, and guess what? By week 4, we completely forgot he was on the team. It's what happens.
It's always it's a lot of some of the people that haven't played, but there were some folks that were former players that were saying that he was quitting on his team. I just think if you're playing in the NFL, it is comparable to the NFL. I've had some people this morning were trying to argue with me. It's not the same as the NFL. If you're getting, I know that, and I saw Ryan brought this up. It's not supposed to be pay for play, but it is. It is. There is. We can't close our eyes and pretend it doesn't exist. It is pay for play. If you were promised a certain amount to be somewhere for a certain period of time, you need to be paid for it. I think this does open the can of worms of solving this, which is as simple as eventually schools directly paying players. I think that is the only way that we can avoid this, because there is this third-party relationship occurring with the collectives making these financial decisions when coaches are promising things to kids, and there's just no communication for most of these programs in any of these channels. That's why a lot of times we are going to continue to see, and why you hear stories of, not as out in the open as this one, where kids are promised one thing and then they're not given what they're being promised. Like Louisville was an example where we didn't really find out what happened, but it was along those lines. If the schools are paying them directly and they're signing contracts, they have to be there for a certain amount of time, for 2-3 years, whatever it is, before they can leave. I think it alleviates any of these issues. Right now, there is just such a lack of control, and it needs to be turned into some sort of a linear, simplified A to B relationship that is not so complicated with so many different people involved.
Well, it's college sports, so I think about 1,000 people have to get involved on one committee to be able to select 15 people to make the final committee, to have a 15-person committee that can actually take a vote maybe in a couple years. So it's going to be a bit, but I mean, good God, have we lost? If the NCAA wasn't such a bag of garbage, maybe they could handle it, but they have proven themselves incapable. So now we're going to have to go and outsource and find some other smart people to try to deal with this, which maybe in 5 years we look back and those people aren't that smart anymore. Whatever the easiest solution right now that has a little bit of rules is what we should go for. It shouldn't be overly dove into. It shouldn't be just find an easy, simple solution. If it's TV revenue and that's what you're going to pay them out of that, whatever pool you get for your team, however much money you get in a TV deal, and you push that onto the players and say, chop it up however you like based on what we're going to give you, do that. But the inherent value of NIL is a player being able to say, hey, I have a cool name and I'm putting it on a t-shirt and I play at this school. If you want to buy it, you can buy it. So we've gone so far past what NIL initially meant when people were searching it out. In the 2000s, the autograph signing, having a name. That's what it was about, having a name that you could purchase and profit off of. And now it's become, oh my God, this is the angel investor. Can you come to Alabama? Can you come to LSU? This is what we can find a way to go through the couches up in Alabama. Maybe we find $500K for you and you come play for us. It's not what NIL should be in its inherent design.
We need the bagmen back. That's what we need. There's too much like, hey, I need your PayPal bank account information and we can wire you the money and we'll see when we get it to you. No, we need the money in the McDonald's bags. We need to bring.
I mean, God,
That
at least
back.
there was less online discourse about it. We didn't
Well, you
know.
showed up on your visit, and then there'd just be a bag of money, and I'm not saying this like I knew what it was like. Like there was a lot of money being handed out to the University of Rhode Island long snapper. But I've played with guys and know guys that have been on those visits where you show up and there's a duffel bag and it's got some bread in it.
Yeah.
Or like it was happening at Tennessee, you show up and your McDonald's order comes for the night and there's $10,000 in there. It's kind of hilarious to think about how it obviously wasn't safer because a lot more kids had an easier time of getting screwed and then being blackmailed. Heath is saying that he should go to Western Carolina and join the Catamount Collective. I don't think he wants a can of beans and $15. I don't know if that.
Come on. You've seen their field. It's not an industrial warehouse. Oh, wait, it is.
Sorry, Heath.
Yeah,
no
geez.
shade. You
Oh,
can,
you know.
I don't. If Sluka was on the market for $100K, I don't think he's showing up for $15 and some coupons at Kmart. I don't think that he is going to be
No.
in line for that.
No, he would. He's actually probably going to get at least. What do you think he gets on his next one? 200 grand.
Well, okay. So here's one thing. A lot of people were speculating that, oh, he's going to end up at Auburn. Oh, he's going to get all this money to go play at a Power 5 school. I as much as we love Sluka, I don't think that that's going to happen.
You don't think he could take over in Wisconsin
He was
after TVD the Savior
he was
leaves?
playing at his ceiling right now, which is 40% completion percentage and just running around.
It's not a bad ceiling to have. He's
But-
winning games in the G5.
But he's extremely scheme specific. You throw him in Wisconsin's offense? No, absolutely not. That does not work. Joe Garish brought up a really good point here. In all seriousness, if I'm Sluka, if you just want to finish out minus the drama, go to NDSU, go to SDSU. Montana State is going to be resetting at quarterback. I think that there are opportunities for these premier FCS teams that he should consider. I think that would be the smartest thing to do. Step away from the drama. I know that you were looking out for your financial future, but if you're already burned this bad, it's only going to get worse. And another facet of this, I don't think many top teams or just teams in general are going to be willing to pursue him because the minute that he signs, they're going to get accused of tampering.
Oh, because right after this all happened, that somebody reached out.
Yeah, it's like,
and there
oh,
was
gee, how did that happen? Oh, it was reported on that another team had reached out to you when you were still on the UNLV team. How curious that you're deciding to go to this school.
I mean, Joe, we've had G5 coaches openly say they're tampering with my players, and nothing happened. What happened? Who's dummy USF quarterback?
Byron Brown?
No, not USF. FIU maybe. Quarterback for the Ravens a while ago. I'm losing it. But there was a coach that was UAB is what I'm thinking. Dilfer was saying, yeah, they're tampering right here, right on my team. And did we hear anything? Have we seen any recourse for a coach explicitly saying in the open world that his team is getting tampered with? No. Tampering's a fallacy. There's no such thing as tampering anymore. It's the boogeyman. It's Santa Claus. It doesn't exist, as far as I can tell, unless you're the fucking Atlanta Falcons and Kirk Cousins.
I would love for a 45-year-old Matt Sluka to show up and play for Montana State. I am pro. Wait, how old is dude? Matt Sluka is old. Matt Sluka. I'm not trying to dig on him right now. He's got a Wikipedia page.
Sure was built today.
Oh, probably.
Early life in high school, and then the big one. That's would be the second
Scandal. Wait, where is it?
Yeah.
No, he doesn't have a category that's titled Scandal. Wait, how? I do find it really funny that there's no birth year.
Well, can't you go to his UNLV player profile?
Nope, that's down. 404 error. Wait, what is this? Does this say on his?
Can't get an age on this guy.
Okay, he started in 2020, so let's say he's probably 23 right now. He'll probably be 24 next year. I think that he should transfer down. I would love to see what he could do back at the FCS level, and we knew that he was so gifted, and he was kind of one of those guys you kept watching. Like I remember back 2 years ago against South Dakota State where he just got pummeled. He just got the shit kicked out of him that game, and you're just the whole time you're just watching like, man, what if this kid was on like a really good FCS team and he wasn't on Holy Cross that had like a couple of guys and that was it?
Holy Cross got better though. They got better last year. They were a legit team in the FCS before they, collapsed a little bit. Maybe Chesley was already Chesney was getting some calls. Pardon me. I never want to confuse that because I don't want anyone to think that I'm going to for like Kenny Chesney because that's the first thing in my mind. I overthought it. Regardless.
I'm curious to see how this plays out though. I know that's kind of like a cliche way to end that thought, but I feel like this isn't done. That's like the only way to really to smooth this thing over is I don't think that this is done. I think that there's so many more steps left to this thing that it's just going to possibly get worse and worse.
I think he lands at a pretty anticlimactic spot, and it doesn't seem to be. I think it actually fades out and dissolves pretty quickly.
That's what I think is going to happen, but part of me also believes with the anti-PR work that UNLV did today was insane. I don't think we didn't even see that from Florida. With the whole Rashada thing, they came out and pushed to multiple locations, multiple large reporters that had ties to people at this program, and were attacking this kid's character. They were trying to get everybody to call into question his character as a young man.
Look, I think Vegas knows how to handle a scandal. All right, you're around that area, working in some type of HR, PR. You've seen some things, and now you know how to handle like the top pros.
Let's accuse this kid of being a huge, greedy piece of shit.
Yeah, it was awful.
Let's just go around and we're gonna tell everybody that he had all this stuff. It was the PR camp course of let's just throw as much stuff against the wall that is as negative as possible against the person we're up against and see what sticks. That was literally what it was.
A student athlete who was promised $100,000 and then never got it. It's insane. If you bring it down to the simplest terms, come play for us, $100,000. He doesn't get it. I'm done playing. It seems pretty cut and dry. Yeah. But everyone had to start getting the PR firms involved and making official statements. Oh, there's an official statement now. Everybody, ears up. We got to hear this because it's official. It's in the font. We know it's got the font and it's got the heading, so everything else isn't official.
I appreciate Bob Sluka just going right to Pete Thamel and saying like, hey, it's all a bunch of crap. They're slandering my son. I think this is the truth.
But Elliott was like calling Sluka's brother today or something like that.
Really?
Yeah, when they were live at Cover 3. He's like, yeah, I just got off the phone with Sluka's brother. It's a mess.
God, I wish I got to talk to Sluka during all this. One of those guys where I think that if I thought he was following me. I was really hoping that would have been the case. All right, let's move on. Let's talk a little bit about college football this weekend. We've got the first premier matchup of the season between Alabama and Georgia. This is a big storyline game, Sean. This is a big game for Kalen DeBoer, his first premier matchup to prove who he is as a head coach. Is he going to step up to the plate? And then on Kirby's side, no more daunting Nick Saban. Your former boss is not there anymore. You don't need to worry about him. I think that in this circumstance, Kirby needs to win more. I think that Kalen DeBoer gets a little bit of grace in year one. He's got the easier schedule of the two of them. And I think there's a path for him to survive this, go on, make the playoff. You lose a close game. I think it is going to come out as a huge positive for year one under Kalen DeBoer. Inversely, for Kirby Smart, you can't win this game. I'm not saying anyone's calling into question his capabilities as a coach.
Right.
Or that he's on the hot seat all of a sudden. But it hurts your season where you're going up against a Sabanless Bama, where you have a really tough path. You still have to go to Texas. You've been dealing with some injuries. This is going to hurt your playoff seeding if you lose it. You want that opportunity to be the number 1 or the number 2 seed. They have to win this game. I don't think Bama's in that same frame of mind right now.
I think the recency bias is playing a major factor in this game. Recency bias is as recent as last week, where Alabama trounced Wisconsin by 32 points and Georgia beat Kentucky by, 1 point. So not the hot seat, but the pressure cooker is starting up for Kirby, simply because they couldn't roll past Kentucky like they did Clemson. And now that Clemson win is looking better and better as Clemson looks stronger and stronger. But if we're in a world of what have you done for me lately, which newsflash, every college football fan in the world isn't living in that realm. Oh, Georgia's on the ropes. Kentucky had Georgia on the ropes. Now they got to face big bad Alabama with Jalen Milroe playing better than he ever has with a new head coach and an awesome defense. Yeah, I think the pressure's definitely on Kirby and that big stupid visor. I mean, I know he gets his.
Oh, whoa,
Yeah, I can't
whoa!
I'm so out on Kirby this year. It's something about him. I don't like.
What?
Yeah, I'm out on Kirby.
Huh? Wait, unpack this.
I don't
Unpack
like
this.
I don't like the visor. I don't like all the stuff that happened around his team and driving in the offseason.
that's fair.
There's a lot of things about the Georgia program that I didn't think made me want to really root for the Bulldogs. I'm not, I think, rooting against them. But
Sounds like you kind of are.
in this matchup, I wouldn't mind seeing Bama roll them up in a blunt and smoke them. I think that would be fun.
You're talking all kinds of crazy shit right now.
I'm right now. I'm Team Bama. Saban's not there anymore. Maybe
Look,
maybe I'm a road tag. Maybe I'm gonna go that way.
I picked what's the one, the Roll Tide Willie? It's oh god, what's his line that he uses? I don't give a piss about nothing but the Tide. We should get that on the we need that on the soundboard. But I did pick Bama in this game on Rufino and Joe. I just forgot that Family Guy was on in the background. I keep forgetting that we have the Family Guy Star Wars playing in the background, that the sound was on at the beginning of the show. I'm picking Bama because of the circumstances of the injuries. I don't know if Michael Williams is coming back for this game. I don't know how much losing Tate Ratledge is going to hurt them. I think that Alabama was getting right before the Wisconsin game and was getting healthy and then had the bye week. I think it times up well for them to win at home here. But at the same time, like I don't know why you're hating on Georgia. I think that you can't, in a situation like this, you can't doubt him. Like Kirby's going to find a way to win.
Here's the frustrating thing is that Mike Bobo has crafted up the most boring offense of all time for the first 3 weeks.
It got worse.
And now my worry about this is that they really did pack some stuff away, and now Carson Beck gets unlocked against Alabama, because why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't he just step up in a huge game of this biggest game of the year?
I mean, it's possible that they were saving stuff against Kentucky and they didn't realize that they needed it more than they actually did.
We watched that Kentucky game. The receivers weren't getting open. The run game wasn't working. Beck looked stiff. And now that they're playing Alabama, maybe it's just the Georgia, what Cincinnati's been doing in the NFL for the last couple of years. Take the first couple weeks off. No one needs you. You got an ice-cold quarterback and a good defense. We'll pick up with you in November. So they could have a little bit of that gene in them, given how slow that they or how little they care about week 3. But they care about beating Alabama. I really think Kirby wants and needs this win to try to usher in a new king of the mountain.
Well, that's where, when we talk about who needs to win more, again, this isn't a circumstance of like, oh, who's on the hot seat, who could be on the hot seat. Neither are in this situation, but everybody has crowned Kirby Smart as the next premier face of college football. He is already on the trajectory to be the next Nick Saban. The way that he has won at a relatively early head coach age, he has built a behemoth. So you come in here, you have the opportunity to establish yourself, and you've been so successful against coaches that aren't named Nick Saban, and you still can't get past Alabama on the road. I'm not saying it, again, it does not call into question his credibility, his quality of a coach, none of those things. But what you're talking about, it kind of diminishes him just a tiny bit. It's like, oh, maybe he had those, maybe he's still the great coach, but maybe Kalen DeBoer's coming up. Maybe Kalen DeBoer is going to challenge him.
Yeah, this is a real pissing match, and the loser is going to be looked at as that, a loser, because for the rest of Georgia's schedule, if Georgia were to lose, would Texas respect them as much? They'd get up for that game, but would they think they have a better chance to win after seeing Alabama beat them? Would Ole Miss probably come out a little more fired up if Alabama beat them? How about Tennessee the week directly after that? I'm sure they'd be up and ready to go, seeing that Georgia can be beat this year, and now they have the blueprint if it happens. Kirby is not only defending this game and this record against Alabama, but he's coaching this game for the rest of the season down the stretch, to still have some form of intimidation over the rest of the SEC.
I would also argue, though, counter to that, kind of going back and forth on my takes here, an early loss to Bama could be a super galvanizing moment for this team. Could be a total rallying point. You lose a close game on the road, and then you've got that gauntlet of a remaining schedule to say, you know what, guys, we lost. We know what cost us. We know we need to improve on blocking at practice. If there's a team to use something like this as motivation, it's Kirby, it's Georgia, it's that whole team.
Yeah, that's exactly what they would do, and then they become world beaters just because they woke up, and they would need a wake-up call, which college football teams do need. If they their heads start getting too big, they'll start playing bad. Whereas I think Nick Saban always did such a good job as an enforcer of the program and someone that commanded respect and humility out of his team to keep them that laser focused the 6 championships. That just doesn't happen with all that ego.
I appreciate in the chat, we're going to move on to our next topic in a second, but I appreciate in the chat that Heath and Ron are quite literally the same person. They're both typing with a lot of capitals. Ron does the capital letter at the first letter of every single word, and then there's a lot of emojis and exclamation points. They're the same person.
Could we have a Chris Hammond rack situation here where
Do we think that Heath and Ron are the same person?
Yeah. It could be a quick, I got 2 phones, one for the plug and one for the low.
One for Hack City on
yeah,
Monday.
One for Montana man Ron Lowney and one for Heath, Western Carolina lifer.
All right, let's talk best bets here for college football for this upcoming week. We both stink at this. We're both absolutely terrible at making bets, so if you want to make some money, fade the hell out of us. Sean was 1-2. He's 8-7 on the season, 53% correct. That sounds too good to be true. Joe is 1-2 on the season, 6-9, or 1-2 last week, 6-9 on the season, 40% correct. My first pick, Sean. We're picking ourselves up off the ground here. We're gonna survive. We're gonna get back. We're gonna get back. I'm taking Oklahoma -1.5 versus Auburn. I know that Oklahoma is starting a true freshman on the road, but Auburn is the king of shooting themselves in the foot. They can't get out of their own way, but more importantly, fractured locker room week, man. Your head coach is saying a bunch of crazy shit. Multiple press conferences. I know a lot of people said, oh, he threw himself under the bus as well as the quarterbacks. Doesn't matter. You don't throw your players under the bus. Conversely, Brent Venables benches Jackson Arnold, and instead of being critical of him, he goes out of his way to say that he thinks that Jackson Arnold's going to go on to have a great long career. That's the difference between a good coach and a hack like Hugh Freeze. Give me the good head coach. The team's going to rally around him. I think that Oklahoma covers a 1.5.
Here's the thing. I think Auburn, I like your rationale. I think Auburn, we could have a situation where the players get so mad at their coach that they win out of spite. I think it becomes, Hugh's looking at this, if I need to become the rallying point and have my team play in spite of me with their hair on fire, that's what's going to happen. He's a weirdo. He's a manipulator. He's at times a scumbag in his career, but he keeps on getting hired and he keeps on having winning teams. So something has to work eventually. I think it's turning the entire team against him. I am staying away from this game. My first pick, Miami, 19.5 versus Virginia Tech. Are they favorites? Of course they are. Miami is a God-fearing wagon. Miami, 3-1 against the spread so far. Keep telling me it doesn't matter, Joe. I'm not taking the bait. Even more importantly, they are covering the spread by an average of 16 points a game. They're not sneaking by on their tiptoes. They are smoking the spread.
Okay, but
they are crushing that. That's insane.
This is a huge spread, though. This is a huge. Okay, I would actually love you. You're using all this data. I've
got more. Can I give you another?
Wait, hold on. Who would have thought that Sean was Mr. PFF over here with all the data that he's thrown out here? But I would love for you to have done some statistical analysis, the amount of times that you've taken these 15+ point spreads, how many times they've hit.
Look, I got another little nugget.
I think you're over.
I got another little nugget for you to drop in the proverbial.
Idiot.
Hey, Miami had a big spread last week and they covered again. Of course they did.
Well, you didn't pick Miami.
Yes, I did.
I'm talking about you.
Yes, I picked Miami last week against USF. Yes, I did. It was the only bet that hit. Virginia Tech is 1-3 against the spread this year. And they are not covering.
Notre Dame didn't hit. That's plays into my example.
By an average of 6.4 points a game. They are losing to the spread by a touchdown It's easy money. It's smart money. Miami's going to smoke Virginia Tech. It's the safest. You're lying.
Bad pick.
You're a lying
Bad
liar.
pick. BYU plus 3.5 versus Baylor is my second one. Are we just forgetting what BYU just did to Kansas State? Are we forgetting what Baylor did against Colorado?
Yeah, I don't know.
This is the most insane line. I actually was worried that I didn't get my picks in quickly enough and that you were going to steal this one from me. Bonkers line that BYU is a 3.5 point dog. I actually took a money line. Take a money line if you want, but if you want to alleviate some risk, 3.5 feels like a easy pick.
Yeah, even if Kansas State was sleepwalking, they got worked.
Thanks, Heath, for pointing out the fact that BYU was a Jewish quarterback, by the way.
Thanks. Yeah, that's
oh, your name got
constructive.
Ron's spelling your name wrong. Oh no, got chaos in there.
Come on, no, EAN, Ron.
It's in the bottom. Come
on,
in the overlay.
My friends have been doing this bit on me for years now. They spell my name SHAUGNE. They find any way to spell it but my own. Please do not do that. It's EAN, the proper spelling. My next bet. Oh, guess what, Joe? It's another doozy with a team that is covering against the spread. That's all you need. Indiana giving 7 to Maryland. Maryland stinks. Kurt Cignetti's a gangster-ass gangster, and Indiana is 3-1 against the spread so far. They're covering by an average of 16 points, almost as much as Miami. This is another lock. They are smoking the spread. It's a good.
I hate picking the who's good against the spread. I think that is. It's an arbitrary fallacy that is created by people because it doesn't mean anything. You're just trying to hope that this trend continues that there are 4 weeks of games. I hate it.
Being good against the spread is indicative of you being better than the numbers.
You've been using this logic and you've been 1-2 the last 2 weeks.
Go screw. You're 1-2 also. I'm the only one in the green, Playboy.
I'm playing off of vibes. I'm not far behind you. I'm 2 picks behind you. I'm 2 correct picks behind you.
Let's hope they hit then for you.
If I have a 3-0 week, you're done for.
I'm not going 0-3 this week. It's just not possible. What you think
that's gonna happen?
Miami.
I mean, this is
Miami
your worst
hits,
week. This is
Indiana
your worst
hits.
week of picks. Your last one's bullshit, and I hate you for taking it. Are you done with your yelling?
I'm done. Indiana given 7. Maryland is fraud.
Illinois plus 18 versus Penn State. Illinois' defense is really freaking good. While Penn State could totally dominate most of this game, Illinois' defense is strong enough to keep this thing within 10, I think. Or at least 15. They are not allowing many rush yards per game. They're not allowing many total yards per game, yards per attempt, yards per carry. They're one of the best defenses in the country right now. They're turning over every quarterback that they've gone up against. They're one of the highest intercepting defenses in the country. So I feel great about this one. This one is probably one of the safer picks that I've taken so far this year.
I was remarkably close to putting Illinois getting 18 as just a bonus after my 3. It's such a good bet. Now, the problem is it's Penn State at night, and you're taking a leap of faith on Illinois again, which is terrifying. But for the most part, I think
I bet on them last week and they covered.
I know. This year, I guess they're a different team with somehow less draftable talent on the roster. Sometimes it works that way. It's a good bet. I'm not going to sit here and say bad pick like somebody else in the show does. My final bet here. Let's get positive.
You don't know anything about Notre Dame.
Let's stay
positive. You
don't
know anything about Notre Dame.
I've been Notre Dame number 1 fanboy since the NIU tragedy.
Fuck you.
I'm pulling for the team. I'm trying to keep the fan base positive. I think it'd be great if Notre Dame kept on making a push.
So get to your point. Just give the pick analysis.
Notre Dame
quit it with that nonsense.
Giving 6 versus Louisville. God forbid I try to keep my friend up in these trying times.
I'm sorry, everyone, that I have to keep cursing, but fuck you. Stop.
Notre Dame, they had a massive win last week, and they need to keep the train rolling against Louisville if they want to make the CFP. Louisville, good right now. So this win would help Notre Dame after the incident. So if they keep the train rolling, keep on stacking wins, Marcus Freeman getting a little more animated on the sidelines, I think it's possible. Notre Dame smokes Louisville. All they need to do is win by 7, and everyone is happy. I can see it, and I can just see it in December. Oh, who's coming in?
All right.
Cinderella at the last moment. It's the
All right. That's just now you're just trying to piss me off, and I'm glad. You know what that leads into perfectly our NFL pick.
I'm sure I'm a piece of garbage.
Yeah,
I'm
you
sure.
are. You are a piece of garbage. Our NFL picks. Moving on to NFL betting picks for Week 4. I'm 1 for 2 last week. I'm still in the lead at 5-4 and 55% correct. Sean is tragically terrible. 1-2, 3-5-1 on the season. 33% correct. My first pick's the Saints plus 2.5 versus the Falcons. I think that the Saints team has some legs to succeed this season. I think the Falcons are going to be down on themselves after the bad loss that they suffered against the Chiefs. And everybody's
Reigning champs lost by 5.
All hot and high on them because
Missed PI in the end zone also.
they were close with the Chiefs and all that stuff. No, give me the Saints to win this game.
It's a fine bet. You don't hate your team the way I do. You have hope and you're optimistic somehow.
No. You are a Falcons fan by choice because you liked Michael Vick. You are not the same level of in the shit as I am.
Oh,
I
brother.
don't want to hear it.
No. I'm not having this with you. I've watched every single game possible,
The
imaginable.
28-3 loss is not worse than the Alabama Notre Dame national championship game. It's not even close.
Oh.
It's not even close.
You're a crazy person.
It's not even close.
You're a crazy person.
Don't even
sitting in
do this to me.
Hey, this is an insane asylum
It's
that
not
I'm sitting
insane
in.
asylum.
Nurse Ratchet, Joe is off his meds. If you got that reference, you would have maybe given
What's
it a
your
chuckle.
what's your first?
It's a fine pick. I think the Saints roll Atlanta, especially because Atlanta's breaking out their sweet throwbacks.
Don't
and
patronize me.
I'm not. I hate the Falcons, and I can't stop rooting for them, and it sucks. My first pick, Steelers giving 1 versus the Colts, is basically a pick 'em, basically free money. It's in a game, Joe, where neither quarterback is going to separate from the pack and take over. What should you look towards? I would say who has the better head coach, who has the better defense, and who has the better run game. Some people may even bring up the special teams. I don't care about that. Boswell's better than whatever kickers in Indy. Simply, Mike Tomlin is the better coach than Shane Steichen. The Steelers have the best
Why'd you say it like that?
The Steelers have the best defense in the league, giving up 230 yards per game and only have given up 2 touchdowns in 3 games. The Colts defense, second to last in yards per game at 398. That is insane. It is awful. They've given up 6 touchdowns in the year. And for the run game, it's dead even. The Colts have 2 more rush yards on the season than the Steelers. So it all maths up. It all works out for the Steelers, a better team than the Colts, to beat them by at least 1 point. It's a good bet.
I was going to take this one originally, but go Colts. Ravens, money line versus the Bills. Back up against the wall for the Ravens. They need to dig themselves out of it the current moment. They need this win. And I know that the Bills are hot. I know that they're super hot right now after the game that they had against the Jaguars. But I think that this is where you lay an egg type of a game. You know, where you're all confident in yourself. You're totally feeling yourself. I think that the Ravens could pull this one out.
I don't know, man. The Bills are running the hell out of the ball.
They need to win way more than the Bills do.
The Bills are trying to make a Josh Allen MVP season happen. And it's looking like it through 3 games. If he can win the MVP for the first 4, then he could run away with it as long as he doesn't dupe his britches in the next 8 games. He's good enough. I think that you could sell me on either side of this, but if we're making a betting pick, I am not having this involved in any shape or form.
All right, what's your next one?
Cowboys giving 6 versus the Giants. I mean, come on. Does anyone think that the Giants team are going to beat the Cowboys? Does anyone think that it's going to come down to a field goal versus this team? Be real. The Cowboys have the most passing yards in the NFL. The Giants have the 22nd most. Good quarterback, bad quarterback. The Giants are also allowing a QB completion percentage of 70. What does Dak Prescott like to do? Throw that thing around. And I know that he's going to have some receivers that are open. Let's just do the math. Dak's going to throw for 400 yards, and the Cowboys will stomp them out. I'm not rooting for it. I think the NFC East is soft this year. They're much weaker than expected. But Cowboys 6, Giants nothing. It could end up like that.
It's a terrible way to end that analysis, but the Giants are god-awful. So
Yeah.
them laying an egg on Thursday Night Football to the degree that the Patriots just did and the Dolphins just did, totally feasible. My last one, Bengals -4 versus the Panthers. Talk about another team that has their back up against the wall, needing a big win. They're off to a super slow start. They need to pick themselves up off the mat. 4 points for them to cover. You're starting to see that they're getting their legs back. And more importantly, I said this last week when you bet against the Panthers, first game with a new quarterback in that's taking over for the starter and there's a benching. They're always super hyped up and there's always some crazy stuff that happens.
Yeah.
But everything comes back to reality. Everybody remembers what planet they're from. So Bengals -4.
I worry about Andy Dalton return to versus Cincinnati. I worry about the Bengals.
He's been out of Cincinnati for like a million years.
He's still the golden boy there. Pre-Burrow, it was a mess, and everybody wanted Dalton.
I don't think anyone in Cincinnati could give two shits about.
I think they cared about him last week, seeing what he was doing to the Raiders, and then watching the Bengals lose to the Commanders.
I don't think they care. All right, what's your last one?
My final pick: Chiefs giving 9 versus the Chargers. Sean, you're a crazy person. The Chiefs beat the Falcons by 5, and the Chargers have Harbaugh and a completely new identity. I get it. The Chiefs are a tank, though. I believe in Harbaugh and Harbaugh ball, but there's too much adversity for them this week. Let's talk about real quickly the NFL giving Derwin James a 1-game suspension before they play the Chiefs, just because Derwin James was playing football on the field. Oh my God. Thank you, Derwin James, for trying to hold up the standard of a safety that likes to tackle and hit. Unbelievable. Derwin James also, historically, the Travis Kelce stopper. He suplexed him. It was awesome in front of the world. He covers him well. One of the few that could when Kelce still had his prime legs. So now they're going to float in backup safety. And this is when we see Kelce return to prominence. 3-touchdown game. All of that. That's what's going to happen. Additionally, Justin Herbert banged up with a high ankle sprain, so he might not even play. So that leaves the Chargers with Taylor Heineke or Easton Stick, which means the Chargers are just going to run the rock, and the Chiefs have a great run defense. They've only allowed one rush over 20 yards all season, and it was 20 yards. We saw that this defense, if you're playing a one-dimensional offense like Atlanta, they can shut it down. Chiefs by 9.
It is getting so disgustingly hot in this room.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm like sweating my ass off right now.
Well, we have two more brief segments, and then we can turn the AC on.
All right, let's get to the
you a
last
little ice pack.
All right, shut up. All right, let's get the last 2 segments that we've got here to close out the show. Actually, we're gonna start with Hell Yeah of the Week, which is something self-explanatory.
Yeah, it's hell yeah.
Something great that happened this past week.
This is the Hack City Hell Yeah of the Week. Cue the lasers.
My Hell Yeah of the Week, and this one is very, very specific and also absolutely terrible. Ryan and I this week broke down the film from the Illinois versus Nebraska game. One, Michael Priestley, Melvin Priestley is the right tackle, impressed us. We're watching his film, noticing that, hey, this could be a day 3 guy that's got some good stuff. Ryan discovered his Twitter account, and I said this to Sean. Most of his feed is him retweeting a lot of porn, just like a lot of porn, just mostly and all of it in rack. I'm sure you're going to appreciate it. You should go check it out. It's just all porn. This is my Hell Yeah of the Week because I said this to you. I said this to Ryan. This is a stock up for an offensive lineman. I want an offensive lineman who is unhinged and a complete and total freak.
He is reposting some freaky stuff, which I don't really like. I know that there's some other he's not the first football player to try to get involved with, sex. I mean, Tyreek Hill said that if he wasn't playing football, or his next career would be a porn star.
No, that's too self-aware. Melvin Priestley does not care. He does not care.
It's just
different.
It's taken down now. Thank God someone got to
him. No, somebody told him?
No! Yeah. It's awful. You can't have that on your feed if you're representing your institution of higher learning. It's not really indicative of what, maybe it is what college is about. Maybe I'm flipping around.
What a coward. All right, this is no longer my Hell Yeah of the Week. I don't have one this week.
What do you mean? Somebody from compliance had to just walk through and say,
Melvin, what the shit is on your Twitter account?
We had some fans tagging us today. Do you have any clue about this? What's up? What did I do? Did I get all conference or something? I don't know. I had a good game. Oh, man.
Damn it, Melvin.
It seems to be something with your Twitter feed. Have you been, reposting
No,
things?
No. None of that happened. It was in the it was probably in the offensive line group chat. The offensive line coach probably said, Melvin, what the fuck? And then sent it a screenshot of it. And then he probably said, why is my son sending me this?
Yeah, that's not great.
Wait, I want to look up who the Illinois coaching staff.
You think that'd be a fun O-line room to be a part of?
Let's look at
Just freaking packing lips, watching them steamroll over teams. That'd be
Bart Miller.
O-line coach
Get
name.
off the screen.
Hardo
Oh,
Bart.
yeah, Bart Miller does not look like he's playing around with porn on the timeline. See if
No.
there's any other pictures of him.
Bart doesn't look like a very continuously happy gentleman. Look at that scowl.
Oh, yeah. You got the cop glasses on. All right, what's your hell yeah of the week?
My hell yeah of the week. This camera across my timeline today, and I'm sure this isn't the first time people have heard this gimmick, gag, whatever it be. But if you have a team that's participating in playoff baseball, that's a good thing. And baseballin' in the Fanatic on Twitter, the Phillies are having a good year. They're in the playoffs. Tweeted, had my yearly physical, and the doctor signed me up for flu and COVID vaccine, and I had to tell her no and explain I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I always just get my COVID shot the night before the Phillies have an afternoon playoff game so I can use my vaccine PTO to stay from home, from work to watch. It's a great plan. Who cares if you get sick before the first game? You can tough that out. First playoff game, elite playoff game. That's when the vibes are high before you've seen your team completely disappoint you in the playoffs. It's how it goes. Using your health, weaponizing your own health and safety to watch your team play playoff baseball, an elite move. This guy's vibes are high. I hope he's drinking after he's got the flu shot and trying to pick himself up watching these games. It's a great move. Hell yeah, baseballin'.
Sean's pro-vax. That's all I learned. Sean's a big vaxxer. He is as pro-vax as you could probably get. That's all I heard.
No.
Vaccines!
No. I'm saying
Vaccines!
if you have to get a vaccine or if you're choosing to,
Sean is saying that you need to wear a mask
schedule
in your
it.
car when nobody's in the car with you. You need to wear it everywhere you go, and you need to get your booster. All of that. That's what Sean just said.
If you're getting boosted,
No,
make
you're
sure
trying
you're
to-
boosted.
You're trying to use sports as a guise for promoting vaccination. I will not.
Now I'm weaponizing
I
my platform.
will not allow you to sway me. I will refuse to get vaccinated like a true American.
Oh, have fun going into work then, chump.
Well, I work remotely.
Yeah.
All right, get after the week, which is kind of self-explanatory, but where somebody got dunked on this week.
Get help?
I broke my knee, man.
No. Get effed.
Ice up, son.
It's the Hack City Get Effed of the Week.
What's the get iced up son thing from?
Steve Smith. He was when he came back
okay.
and played against the
Okay.
Panthers, I believe.
Okay. My get after the week. So Samuel Weinberg on Twitter, who's the executive director of Path to Progress, lives in DC and Chicago. He posted a screenshot of a DM exchange that he had with a girl that he used to date.
Bad move.
Quote tweeted, do you know what I'm referencing here?
I do not actually.
This went pretty viral. He tweeted this out with the caption, "I think I'm going to be sick." His message, we got to unpack this. This is honestly, I had pitched to Sean at one point a segment called Down Bad Dudes, where guys just doing really lame, depressing shit, guys that can't get laid, all of those things. We wanted to take submissions, all that stuff. I think that this is a precursor for that potentially. So his message is, about 3 years ago, you said the timing wasn't right and you wished we'd met 3 years from then. So just checking to see how you're doing, and then a typed out smiley face.
Oh.
The response is as get after as you could get. Hey, double exclamation point, lowercase I, I'm great, double exclamation point. Actually engaged, living in Paris with twins on the way. Get fucked, Sam.
Oh.
No, seriously, come on, man. Like, I'm not trying to dig on you, but like, dude, and a lot of people were saying, this is insanely cringy. Buddy.
Awful.
My guy. Everyone needs to get stomped out on one of these. If you are a single male from the age of 18 to 35, you've sent one of these messages. Everybody has sent one of these. This is a welcome to the world of suffering, get effed moment here. We're on your side, Sam. We're supporting you, but we're also, this is cringy. You don't send these messages.
That's awful for so many reasons.
Yeah.
One, congratulations to her. She obviously got engaged to an alpha that could give her twins and take her to Paris. and not somebody who was waiting for 3 years to try this line. You know, every year, every new year, he's thinking, I'm a little bit closer. One more, okay, maybe.
See, that's where I know that the soy boyishness is playing into this. Just get drunk and text her like a grown man.
Yeah. Get
some crazy shit. Send her the 3-minute voice memo like a grown man.
Get hammered and FaceTime her in your buddy's backyard when you're not making sense, and then be optimistic about that call all night, and then wake up the next morning completely depressed. That's what you need to do.
Yeah.
You need to just get through it.
You waited 3 years for this to blow up.
3 years
in your face like this.
There is nothing. I like the idea of texting an ex after 3 years about something like that is vomit-inducing. It's nauseating. Just because, what does that make me look like?
Yeah.
What kind of cuck am I if I'm sitting here 3 years later? Unbelievable. That's a great get effed. I did not see that. Way to post it too, Sam. Loser.
He said, "Are you sure that wasn't Sean's personal experience?" Oof.
Not after 3 years. I'll crash out earlier than that. Don't worry, Heath.
All right, what's your get after the week?
My get after the week. New news coming from Twitter here. Nima OG tweeted, breaking, X is about to remove the current block button, meaning that if an account is public, their post will be visible to the blocked users as well. Who do you think commented right underneath it? Oh, our nice little Twitter czar, Elon Musk. High time this happened. The block function will block that account from engaging with, but not block seeing public post. And people are livid because you know what this is? It's Elon sick of people blocking him and making it forcing his own stuff onto the Twitter users, and people are crushing him for it. It's a total loser move to say here, oh, I own this company, you can't block me. If freedom of speech, how about freedom of not having to see Elon Musk tweet on my timeline all day, every day? Old conservative boomer memes. I think if you have the block button, still block him. I don't care. It's unbelievable. What kind of beta move is this? Oh, people aren't seeing my tweets as much. Oh, people are blocking me. Get better at Twitter. What'd you think was going to happen? It's the worst website to ever exist, and the best for moments like this.
We're learning today that Sean is very politically charged picks today. You're pro-vax, anti-Elon.
Look,
learning a lot about Sean today.
When Elon started getting political, no matter which way he was going to start tweeting, I was going to, don't make that face. I am going to punch out. I am punched out. And it's him trying to forcibly make people see his tweets, even if you blocked him. Bad move. Sure. Get effed. Elon, get effed. It's awful.
Have a better pick. I'm just kidding. All right, at Joe DeLeone, at Sanderson Radio, at Hack City Pod. Leave us a 5-star review wherever you're tuning in. We're going to be back on Friday with a mailbag episode and a Thursday Night Football recap. Hope everybody enjoyed the show. We'll talk to you later.